So over the weekend, also, in the midst of all of the serious issues that are going on, we also have the buffoonery that is the Republican convention, and the selection of Mike Pence to be the vice presidential pick, and the interview that Donald Trump had yesterday with 60 Minutes and Mike Pence. If you watch the interview, there's no way you could come out of watching that video, that interview, and not realize that, man, we're screwed, man. I hate to say it like that, but we're screwed not because so much of Donald Trump, but I want you to think about this. It's not Donald Trump per se. It's the millions of people who can look at this video and just lie to themselves, like Mike Pence said, and say, this is the type of president that we need. Like, who watched 60 Minutes and in their sane mind would say that Donald Trump is the type of president America needs? Well, apparently about half of the voting electorate, well, not quite, whatever percentage he got of the Republican base. But, there's enough people who hate Hillary Clinton with an extreme hatred that, the polls are suggesting it's going to be a closer race than what anyone would expect with a clown like Donald Trump. But the point is this: there are people who legitimately, millions of people who legitimately look at Donald Trump and view him as the type of president that America needs. That should scare you more than Donald Trump himself. Forget about Donald Trump, but think about the mental gymnastics. And I'm going to be nice as I can about this. Think about the mental gymnastics that goes into a person justifying their support of a person who knows nothing about any of the serious issues of the day. A person who is incapable of controlling his mouth to address issues in a sensitive and a deliberative way, which is a requirement of the presidency of the United States, a president of the United States. I mean, even with what happened in Baton Rouge, President Obama rightfully called for cooler heads to prevail, particularly from people in power that have the ability to sway their following. That's a reasonable thing to request. And enter Donald Trump shortly thereafter with this insane tweet that basically furthers the division in the United States. So the problem is not Trump. The problem is all of the people who just can fix their mouths to think that he is a reasonable candidate to represent their values. It is completely insane. And this is what Mike Pence did yesterday, despite all of the things that he said and voted on that was contrary to what Donald Trump said. He was willing to bite his tongue and just nod his head like a good yes man. Like, yeah, I want this position so badly that, yes, I'll say that anything Donald Trump, he's a type, no matter what ignorant thing Donald Trump has said, Mike Pence just nodded his head and said, yes, this is the type of president that we need. And Mike Pence, 4 years as Indiana governor, conservative, primarily a social conservative, some fiscal conservatism, voted for the Iraq war despite Donald Trump attacking Hillary Clinton vehemently on the Iraq war, which is the right thing to do, right? The Iraq war was a crazy vote, but Donald Trump has now neutralized. And I wonder if people realize that Donald Trump has effectively neutralized that criticism of Hillary Clinton. And I'm sitting back wondering yesterday, was there anyone he can pick from the Republican caucus that did not vote for the war, the Iraq war? Because anyone he picked that was in office, I believe, voted for the Iraq war, which means I don't know, maybe there's some other valid criticisms, but the most salient criticism of Hillary Clinton is her brashness, in the international community. He has now neutralized that argument by picking Mike Pence. So how is he going to get in a debate and say, well, Hillary, you voted for the Iraq war? Then she's just going to turn around and say, yeah, but you just picked a VP who voted for it. Now what? I mean, even the choice is an ignorant choice, politically speaking, strategically speaking. You know, it was just a dumb choice. He bumbled through the entire selection process. First he wanted him, then he didn't, then he took him because it was too late to turn around. So, you know, in the midst of all this, you have the millions of people who can look at him and say, this is the type of president that we need. So the convention is going on this week. I'm not sure what portion of it I'll watch. I don't know if I'll watch any of it, but I'm sure I will, because it's going to be great political fodder, right, for us to give commentary on. There's the preacher. I can't think of his name. Don't feel like Googling it. I was going to say the short, bald head guy, but I'm almost balding, so I better not say that. But the short preacher who has been all up on Donald Trump for the longest time, he's getting a primetime spot to speak, and you know that's what he wanted, right? That's why he was up on, I'm using that colloquial intentionally. That's why he was up on Donald Trump so much, and I still, the black preacher, Donald Trump still polls at like 1% across the nation in the African American community. So I'm sure this preacher might give him a nice little boost up to like 1.2% if he's lucky. I doubt even that much, maybe 1.002% more realistically. But I still want to know, and I don't want to just know this from black people who support Donald Trump because of the white supremacy around it. I want to know it from regular conservatives, like conservatives. You could be black conservative and you support him for economic reasons. I want to know why you could support someone like Donald Trump, even if you're a woman conservative. How is it that you could support Donald? How do you rationalize it? I'm fascinated by the thought process that you have to go through to justify supporting someone like Donald Trump. Or is it party commitment? Are you so committed to the Republican Party that you are willing to look at someone who had this insane interview on 60 Minutes that actually made Sarah Palin look reasonable and informed? Not really, I'm lying. He wasn't that horrible. He was close though. He was damn near close. But I want to understand the rationale and the thinking, and I promise you I'll be nice. So if you want to come on the show, I'll give you a chance this week and we'll discuss it. But I want to know from every demographic in the Republican Party how you can support Trump. And why is this not really just the end of this iteration of the GOP and allow Hillary Clinton to become the new face of the GOP?